This is the state that Diablo IV should have launched in. And with that being said, is it perfect? Absolutely not. That's why I'm saying it should have launched like this. But you know what? I can tell you, compared to last season, this season has been so much more rewarding to play. Not in terms of just in-game stuff, but I mean as a player, it has been much more engaging to play. Like last season, I dropped my character at level 70. I finished the battle pass, so all FOMO was gone, and I'm like, yeah, this game's being shelved. This season, I'm now in World Tier 4 and I'm actively participating, and I can tell you I'm really, truly excited to see what I can do. There's a lot of changes. I'm going to try and like speed through all of them. So the first good thing is the seasonal event is amazing. We're talking about the Blood Harvest, and the Blood Harvest is basically Helltides, but a lot more fast-paced with a lot more going on. I truly, genuinely feel that the developers need to take notes on what worked in these Blood Harvest events and take them into Helltides, because when I did go back to Helltides to do them, because you need to do them for the upgrade material, I found them a lot more boring. I'm just going to be honest, I found Helltides a lot more boring, so the developers, please take note. Please learn from Blood Harvest and incorporate it into Helltides. It felt so much better. Which, ironically enough, this was one of the best modalities for me to level, because you get the Tree of Whispers, and then you go to the Tree of Whispers, you get a little bit of loot, you get a lot of experience. It felt really good. Now let's talk about Vampiric Powers. I think that this system is actually pretty engaging. I think that it definitely adds a lot to your builds, because right now I'm actually not doing minion build. I'll talk about that later. That's definitely a con. That's a thumbs down for me. But how to say it, they need to buff minions, I'll just say that. But I wanted a shadow damage over time build, and there are vampiric powers that literally feed into that. There are also vampiric powers that feed into minions, but I can say that these powers feel meaningful, they feel impactful in a very good and actually meaningful way. But where things really fall off a cliff, and I am definitely adamant about this, I definitely feel that this is how a thing that needs to be changed. These should be shared among alts. If I make like an alt druid to try and likely fail to make a werewolf companion build, because they didn't buff those minions enough either, like they literally barely touched those, which I think is a kind of... How wolves are not buffed is beyond my comprehension. But making that druid, all of these powers are so grindy to level up. I'm gonna be honest, it feels good on your one character, it really does, but the idea of doing this again on another character is like, no. It is a huge deterrent to make an alt. I'm gonna be direct. It's a huge deterrent. What they also seem to have added is like they took some stuff from season 1 and made them into like mini bosses that you can fight in order to have like particular loot that you can obtain. I think that this is a huge win as a system. I think that this added a lot of depth, because at first I'm like, wait, what are these things dropping? And then like it filled my collection in my tab in my inventory. That actually added a huge layer of depth to the game, which I need to do more of that and target farm a lot more uniques, especially now I'm in World Tier 4. I definitely think it's a cool system. Let's talk about leveling speed. Huge win. Honestly, 40% more. There's some people that I've seen say, oh, it's too fast. You know what? If you want to do your, like, Dawnheim tunnels or whatever grind, you do you. Leave me alone. I love this experience buff. This is freaking amazing. I think that it's amazing. I leveled primarily doing the vampire event because it was just more engaging content for me, honestly. Like I told you, Helltide's much more boring. That's my honest feelings. Doing the vampire blood harvest, it felt really, 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 really good, and I was leveling very appropriately. Like I'm now in World Tier 4 and I feel that it was at an appropriate amount of time. I don't feel that I was ever at any point compelled to do stupid dungeon grinds and groups and do all this garbage that I was doing before. It's so much better, guys. Inventory management. They need to definitely work on things like have more loot filters. I can see that they are starting to implement things. I can see that they're going to be taking steps towards a loot filter. There are like kind of primordial loot filters, if you want to call it, like super ancestral, the start of a budding loot filter there. But my inventory feels significantly less clogged with garbage. Gems aren't really a worry. Yeah, if you make a gem, okay, it might kind of suck, but aside from that, I'm feeling that the inventory is staggeringly, stunningly better. Obviously, we should have infinite stash tabs. They didn't give it to us this season. I think that that should maybe be like a tier 80 in the Battle Pass reward or something. Like, just, if they need to incentivize it for, like, money or whatever, like, if you buy the Battle Pass, just fucking give it to us. Like, I think stash tabs, you know, I'm not going to belabor the point. Everyone agrees we should have more, probably. And if they don't, you can just worry about not having stash tabs. Most people, the overwhelming majority, think we need them. Now let's talk about combat feeling good. And I actually was a big fan of Diablo 4. Have always been a fan of Diablo 4's combat. I think the space to sprint forward feels good. I think that things feel reactive. They feel swift. They feel rewarding. The buttons feel good to press in general. Other than menu buttons. Bafta. But, I like the combat, and now they've buffed mob density. Maybe I should make that a specific timestamp. The mob density has been dramatically improved. This is like the level of mob density that it was before. Well, not quite. It's still a little under it. Like, we used to have like a truckload of rares, but like the mob density in general is probably 3 to 4 times, or feels to me, I should say, 3 to 4 times what it was in season 1. It feels drastically better. And on the note of things feeling better, open world density, or like open world in general, I should say, feels a lot better. Helltides are still boring, but they feel like a lot better than they did before, like, if I'm honest. Like, they're still, like, I stand by what I said. They need to take notes and from Blood Harvest and apply them to Helltides, but they feel so much better. Now let's get into some of the negatives. The first thing is that group finders needed. That's why I said at the start of the video, it feels like the state that the game should have launched in. Like, it feels dramatically better, but there are still so many missing components. Like this group finder, you need it. I shouldn't need to explain why. We just need a group filter, period. Next thing that makes me say it's like launch state is loot filters. Like I said before, primordial version, the start of it. You know what? I think that we need a loot filter to be very specific on what kind of substats that we want to show up, and everything else just gets junked to crafting materials. I think that that is good. We have taken steps towards that. We're getting close. Definitely think we need it. And now this is kind of a pro, kind of a con, because I haven't really tried the bosses. I'm going to be honest, I don't think the bosses are enough to really have a fully fleshed out endgame, but I can see the bosses in combination with the vampire powers and those events with the Helltides, with all the other things, that's going to be a much better endgame than before. I'm going to end this video with saying that build loadouts are needed. I have kind of like skirted around this topic before, but you know what, I'm at the point where I really, with my Necromancer currently, I'm doing a shadow damage over time build with my blood mist, with my like explosions. I am really enjoying that right now. It ramps up beautifully. Like, I'm feeling like I'm genuinely contributing even at the start of World Tier 4 to events that I frankly am like 10 or whatever levels behind. I still feel like I'm contributing, but I want to try minion build. I want to try like a Thorns minion build. I want to try one where the Ice Mage just casts Blizzard and stuff. Like, I just want build diversity, and this is what I have been clamoring about before, and I'm going to continue to clamor about it, because I think with this kind of game where you have all of these different uniques, you have all of these different legendaries, all these different substats, I think it is such a waste. It is such a genuine waste of all of these systems to be like, oh no, you're going to be pigeonholed into that. Likewise, loot filters would incorporate into that beautifully. More stash tabs would beautifully fit into this. I think loadouts needs to be something. And so, in summary, the game, do I think you should do it? Yeah. Because, like, a lot of people are going to be like, well, should I actually, like, download the game again and try Season 2? My opinion, yeah, absolutely. I think that the game is dramatically, intensely improved from before. The seasonal event, or seasonal whatever, seasonal season thing is really good. The systems, the quality of life is improved. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But I can say that I have genuinely enjoyed it so much more than last season that I can actually see myself actually playing it for more than 3 days and finishing the battle pass and being like, well, I'm done. Because, well, I'm in World Tier 4 grinding, so I mean, I'm actually doing it. So anyhow, with that being said, this video is longer than I kind of expected, and I know people in general don't click on Diablo 4 content from me, but for those of you who wanted it, there are my thoughts, and yeah, I hope that you enjoy. And if you dive in, let me know. Maybe we can play together, and yeah, take care, everyone. Also, yes, I need to start that Book of Alexander. I really do. I really do. Just give me a little bit of time. I'm still in a kind of a mental funk from like some weird, freaky stuff that happened like a month ago. I will jump on the train soon.